Okay, it's Friday night and you grab your favorite guitar to play and there's no sound. I'm gonna walk you through a couple things to check your guitar to see why it's not making any sound. Okay, today we're gonna go over this customer's Platinum Schecter, beautiful guitar, but he said that there's no sound. So we're gonna go through and do a couple basic troubleshooting things. First off, notice whether it has active or passive pickups. In this case, these are two EMGs. You can see the gold and the silver in the neck and the bridge, which tells me that there's definitely a 9-volt battery in here. So we need to make sure that all of those wiring points are good. Okay, you can see that this one has a 9-volt battery position. So first thing to test is pop that out, make sure it's not dead. I know this is old school, but it's totally dead. Let's change it. Okay, I changed the battery. Still no change. So the other thing I'm going to do, and I typically do this when the battery's out, is I check the receptacles to make sure that there's no oxidation and that those are getting good contact. And then I'll put the battery in and I'll check to see, A, whether it's going in the right side and you have the positive to the positive, negative to the negative, but also that the tabs there have enough tension to actually press on the batteries. So we're going to bust into the actual cavity. Okay, so these are actually wired in, which is a little bit different than traditional EMGs. Most EMGs now have some kind of press-on system, but these are wired, which should be a little bit more reliable. You can see all the solder points there. I'm gonna pull all the wires out until they're a little bit straighter, nice and gently. Just hit each wire, make sure that the solder points are solid. Doesn't look like anything's moving yet. At this point, I normally plug in the guitar and wiggle some stuff around to see if it cuts in and out, and that'll tell you if there's anything that's loose, but so far, looking good. Now, if I only had one pickup connection and the other one was dead, I would know that the battery's working and that the input jack is working, and so that the connection is probably somewhere bad on the backside of the pickup, because those are just kind of snap-on covers there, or it's down here at the wiring. But so we're going to go to the input jack and see if there's anything funky there. Okay, so we're going to pop the input jack out. This normally has a positive, a negative, and then another negative that's grounded only when you plug in the guitar. You can see the multiple leads here, right? 2 blacks and then a positive. Those all look like they're good. They're not releasing. The only other thing I can think of would be that these are either corroded, which you can see a little bit of corrosion on the tip there, or they're just bent a little bit too far so that they're not always contacting the cable. I'm going to test those real quick. Everything looks good on there. So the last thing is sometimes they'll have the inside of the control cavity shielded with some kind of paint, and some of the cables can be touching there if the knobs spin and hit them. So those would be the things I would run through and find out if that's the break on these guitars. Good luck fixing your guitar. Those were some active pickups, but the same process will run for any passive setup. You'll just have no battery to worry about and go through the same steps. Check the wires, move them around while it's plugged in, and check your input jack. Make sure none of the contacts are either touching, loose, corroded, or just broken off, which is very common. If you find any of those things, you can clean off the contacts yourself or bring it into a qualified shop. Try to support your local small business. We'll see you soon.